search guru in the Metroplex and maybe beyond that. But Jeff has been working with, he founded CareerDFW.org in 2008 and has been building that program and that site ever since. He's written a book, What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know, and then expanded out and launched CareerUSA.org in 2012. And he'll be weaving some of this, I think, into his talk today, so I won't go into too much detail. And with that, please welcome today Jeff Morris.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Greg, for having me this morning. Let me get my monitors set up here correctly. All right. So thank you for being here. Here's sort of what I plan to do, tell you a little background about me, how I got started doing this. My background has nothing to do with career or anything like that. It's just something I sort of fell into. I'll tell you a little history about CareerDFW and CareerUSA.org. We will take a look at the websites live as long as the internet cooperates. And then we're going to sort of finish up with, I think there's three main areas that every job seeker needs to focus on. And if you have questions throughout the presentation, either just raise your hand or you can put a comment in the chat box. In fact, let me get the chat box back up here again. And my chat box has disappeared on me. All right, let me put it over here. There we go. So if you have any questions, just let me know, unmute your mic, and we can go from there. So my background, I've got 20 plus years in light manufacturing. I've produced videotapes, but for some reason you all got fascinated with those little round shiny things called DVDs, so we had to shut the videotape business down. I got into printing press accessories. I've been involved with high dollar curtains, with bathroom remodeling. So light manufacturing, widgets are widgets. It doesn't matter what you produce, they're all right there for you. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. We meet every Friday morning. The group's been meeting since the late 1990s. I took it over when the person who was leading it got a job. I happened to be unemployed at the time, and he said, "Who wants to take over?" I think I scratched my face. He said, "Okay, Jeff, you're it." So I've been doing that since 2007. I started CareerDFW in 2008, November 17th, 2008. And the reason for that is because one of the things I noticed is that, running the North Dallas group or facilitating that, there wasn't you didn't drive down the street in front of St. Jude. There's not a sign there that says unemployed, come here Wednesday mornings at 9 o'clock in the morning. There's not a sign by the church by me on Fridays at 9:30 saying, come unemployed, come join us at 9:30. So how did you find out about these things? So that was the main reason for starting CareerDFW, as a way to make it easier for job seekers to get all the information they needed in one place. A little technical stuff. We became a Texas nonprofit corporation 8 months after we launched. I would not accept any donations until after we'd gotten certified to do this. And at the same time, I filed paperwork with the IRS to become a 501c3. I wanted people to know that we are a true nonprofit following all the rules and regulations. It's not often that you're excited about getting a letter from the IRS in your mailbox, but I specifically remember that day going out, opening up the box, and there's this thick letter from the IRS, and I'm going, man, and I can't believe I actually got it the very first time. And it's very unusual to get your 501c3 the first time when you do it yourself. I didn't pay an attorney or anybody else to fill out the paperwork. I did it all myself. In 2012, I wrote a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It's a series of 1, 2, 3 page stories about a topic. There's like 80, 85 different topics in the book. And I talk about this at the beginning of the book in the foreword, that these are a lot of those one things. I remember we had a speaker once, and the guy still talks to my Friday group at least once a year. And he says, you're not going to remember everything I say over the next 60 minutes, but if you just take away one thing and do it this week, that's all I ask. Well, at the North Dallas group, we bring in speakers 3 out of every 4 Fridays of the month. And so what this book is, this is a book of those little one things that somebody else talked about. There's just like, here's somebody here's something we need to do. So that's why I've started. That's why I put the book out. My brain got full. I had to, dump some stuff out of it to make more room. And I don't know, there may be another book coming out soon if I can sit down and try to get some more stuff out of my head. In September 2012, I was invited to go to the White House Forum on Job Clubs and Career Ministries. It was at the office, the executive office building right next door to the White House. Obama was not there at the time, but we did hear from the Secretary of Labor. There were 110 people from all over the United States attending, and it was really great to be in a place that I could hear about what the good things are that are going on around the country. I was the only person there from Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. There was people from New York and LA and Phoenix and Florida. Maybe, yeah, and then a few people from the DC area. So it was really fascinating. But one of the things I learned while I was there is that there is no other website like CareerDFW in the country. Nobody else was doing something on a bigger scale. People had smaller things like their church websites and things like that, but didn't think about the bigger picture. So because of that, we were rebuilding the CareerDFW website in October of 2012. I had owned the name CareerUSA.org, and we decided to launch CareerUSA.org in October 2012. So we sort of split things up, and I'll show you that when I show you the websites here in just a couple minutes. How does CareerDFW survive? We survive by volunteers like you. You're the eyes and ears of the website. If you see something, as they say something. If you see something and you don't see it on my website, you don't see it on the website, please let me know about it. Send me an email. I'd rather get that email 5 or 6 or 10 times than to never have gotten it and not be able to share that information. I'm the kind of person that wants to let everybody know about everything, and you go take whatever information helps you out to do it. So if you see something and you don't see it on my website, please let me know. If you know about a group that's meeting, if you know about a group that no longer meets, please, please, please let me know. It'd be appreciated. We have no employees, no full-time, no part-time employees. Everything we've done, everything I've done over the last 12, 13 years has strictly been as a volunteer. I don't get paid to do this. I don't take any money out of the organization. It's all been volunteer based. The donations help pay for the business cards. Not that we're passing out any business cards right now, but I usually print 10,000 business cards at a time to give to the group so they can hand them out. Flyers, web hosting, the web names, the federal and state filings that we have to do. So there's a couple different ways you can make a donation. We sort of ask that wait until you get your next great opportunity. When you do land, make a donation, help us to continue to do what we do so we can continue to offer the programming that we're doing. There's a link on the website for PayPal, and there's a way you can send a check in. We don't recommend mailing cash in at this point, but if we see in person, you're welcome to cash donation, and I'll make sure it gets into the bank. The other way, all the proceeds from the book, What I've Learned About Your Job Search, also go to support CareerDFW. It's available on Amazon for 15 bucks, but if you live in the DFW area and you want to drive by my house, I'll be glad to sell you the book for $10, and you can throw 10 bucks out the window, and I will slowly toss a book into your window as long as you drive real slow. It's a little bit like the Domino's box delivery system that didn't work very well. At the same time, we started the websites. We started LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn is extremely, extremely important. We'll talk a little bit about that later. When we started the CareerDFW site, we started a LinkedIn group for both of them. Currently, the CareerDFW LinkedIn group has over 12,900 members. We just passed that mark last week. And we also have a Facebook page, CareerDFW Facebook page. Whenever we do any of our training programs, they're all on the CareerDFW Facebook page live. And then like this recording, I'm recording this program, and I will upload this to the Career USA YouTube channel later this afternoon for anybody who'd like to go back and watch it after the fact. So let's take a look at the two websites. You will notice me looking off to the side because I have different things on different monitors here. So just to let you know, that's why I'm not looking directly at the camera. So this is the CareerDFW website. There's a couple of different headers across the top of it. Drop-down menus, which is something new that we added back in 2012. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. There's a career tip of the week here in the middle. We'll talk more about that in just a second. If you're looking for other networking groups that are being held online, you can click right here where you see it changing colors, and that will take you to a calendar that has all the webinars and seminars that are going on and radio shows that are happening that I'm aware of. And I'll show you that when we get to the calendar in just a second. If you know somebody who just lost their job, tell them to click right here. What it'll do is it'll launch a one-page article that has a lot of other little sub-articles built into it. A checklist, what to do first in your job search. What do you need to do second? You know, before you start sending out resumes, what do you have prepared and how to do things? It's got some really, really great information on it. I thought it was important that you know that you're not the only person looking or out there looking for a job. So there's a count on here every time you go to a new page. This page was loaded about 15-20 minutes ago. So when we go to our next page, you'll see this number change to a different number. And this tells you how many other people are currently on the website with you. Right here under DFW training, these are programming that we're doing throughout the week. And you can click here, you'll find Zoom links. Right now, this find out about CareerDFW. It's what we're doing right now. It's this event right here at 9 o'clock. But these other events are all listed right here. You can find out what they are. Click, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in just a second. If you'd like to join the CareerDFW website, as you can tell, I haven't updated the website. I'll do that this Saturday to get it up to 12,900. But if you click right here, it will take you to the Join Now page of CareerDFW. And if you want to join the Career USA, you can click right here. It'll take you there. If you've already joined it, this will automatically take you to the discussion page, so you can see what's going on both of these LinkedIn groups. If you like to buy a copy of the book, you can click right here. It'll take you to two different ways, either via Amazon or via contacting me directly to do that. If you'd like to donate, there's a place to do it down here. And let's go to the calendar. So there's a couple different ways to look at the calendar. We're going to look at the everything calendar first. I like to show that off. There's a couple different views. We'll look at the graphical view first. As you can see now, our count's down to 149 people now currently online. So here's everything on the CareerDFW calendar. Up here at the very, very top, especially for the guys watching right now, these are called instructions. I know you don't tend to read them very much, but if for some reason you can't figure something out, just look up here. Everything is listed up here. Everything is color coded. So let's go down and take a look at the job. So here's what's going on this week. Yesterday, there happened to be a job fair by the American Legion and Texas Workforce Commission. Those are in pink. Here's another virtual job fair coming up this Thursday. Currently, today is always gold. The red line is where we are currently, so we can click here, go to any of the special events that are going on the work that are happening here. And when you look at this, you'll see that please scroll down for all the information. You'll get the links on how to join. Here's the Zoom link to join this morning. Everything's on there. Please note that when we can get back to seeing things in person, if you click here, there'll be a map. I'll be able to put a map on there, which will open up a Google map. This is a Google Calendar, so just know that there are events at nighttime, so be sure to check at nighttime to see what's happening at night. Please know that when you look at something, let's see here, we'll click on this one here. So here's an event going on, a LinkedIn event happening today at 1 o'clock, or this was yesterday at 1 o'clock. There's two things at the very bottom. One says more details. There is never any more details. I'm going to tell you everything that I know about here. If you open this up, it just takes you to a different calendar view outside of the website, but there's never any more details. But if you're running, if you have a Google Calendar, if you click right here, this will put the event on your calendar for you. So you don't have to sit there and put all that event in. If you see a special event coming up, like today at 1 o'clock, we've got an interview class coming up, and you can click right here, copy to my calendar, and it will stick the event on your calendar, so you don't have to do that if you're using a Google Calendar. So here's everything that's going on for the week. So up here in the upper right-hand corner, you can see here's what's already scheduled for next week that we know about. Don't forget Valentine's Day coming up on Sunday. And you know, as you scroll through, you can see week after week after week. Here's a special event happening this Saturday. If you have any electronics and you want to get rid of electronics, you can do that this Saturday up at St. Andrews in Plano. Across the top here, there's a print button, but be very, very careful. You will kill a lot of trees if you're not very, very careful. Please preview whatever you want to try to print first, because there's about 6 or 8 options to turn things on and off, and whatever you turn on and off increases or decreases the amount of pages it'll print. The month view is a real waste, because here's 19 more events, 20 more events, 18 more events. It really doesn't do anything for you. I wish I could turn it off, but it's not an option. But this agenda view is very, very useful. What happens when you click on it, it will take you to the very first event for the day and run all the events in chronological order. You can click, you can open something up, you can close it back down, you can, you can have multiple things open. You can close, it'll have all the details in there, and you can zip through. So this is really an easier way sometimes to view what's going on that particular day. Now, the button I like to tell everybody about, and you only get to find out about it if you're really adventurous, is to click on this little button, this little down arrow here. And what this will do is this will open up all the different layers of the calendar. So we can go turn off, and I'm going to turn off a few things here. Let's turn off. Okay, so now I've turned off everything except for career and special work events are going on, any job fairs are happening. So you can see now the calendar has gotten a lot easier. There's a lot less things on it. If we go back to the week view, you can see, oh, this is a lot easier to use because there's less things on it. If you want to see, we talked about on the front page about the webinar and the teleseminars, what's going on. Here's where you can click that on and off. If you want to be able to just see, we'll turn off everything except for, so here's the webinar calendar. So here's everything that's happening online that you can click and find what's happening in the DFW area that I'm aware of. Okay, so that's the calendar. All right, so let me go back to the home page for the calendar just to emphasize again. We were looking at the everything calendar. That's the only way you can turn things on and off. If you look at the job fair calendar, you will only see the items that were in pink. If you look at the special workshop, you will only see that page. You will not be able to add other things back in. So each one of these are all separate. This is all one big giant calendar. If you know something or see something, you don't see it on the calendar, please, please, please send me an email at calendar@careerdfw.org. And I will make sure we get the information added. I do say this, that if I find out about something that's happening tomorrow, I'm not going to post it. I usually like to have 3 to 5 days to be able to post something. The reason being is that you all tend to use this calendar the most Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to sort of plan out your week. And if I were to post it on Wednesday for a Thursday event, most people won't see it because they're not going to look at the calendar, because they already sort of have their week planned out for them. On all the subsequent pages, you'll see over here on the left-hand side, if you want to get to the LinkedIn page for CareerDFW, click here, get to our Facebook page. Our Twitter feed, I don't think is working right now. We are on Instagram, and this is a YouTube symbol over here. If you want to get to our YouTube channel, click right here. It'll take you to the page there. And if you're interested in donating to CareerDFW via PayPal or via mail, you can do that. And then about the book is located there. All right, the next page over is the group tab. This really was the first page that got built because this is a list of all the networking groups in the DFW area. Back in 2008, when I started the website, I went over to Jewish Family Services, which has a career, they have a whole group of people who just help with career placement. And I didn't know if we would team up. I didn't know if they'd want to work together or whatever. They decided not to do that. But one of the things they did was they gave me a list of all the networking groups in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as of, this was in summer of 2008. The date on the list was January 1st, 2006. The list was 2.5 years old. So that sort of became my focus on what do I need to do first. And that's how I came up with this networking list of all the groups.
Yes, it is. Can I help you?
So that's this networking list. The career workshops, those are the groups that break out and they do a 4, 6, 8, 12-week program. It repeats over again. It's something you probably want to do once, maybe twice, but it's not the kind of thing you want to do if you're out in job search for a year. You probably want to get more involved with the networking groups. Somebody said, Jeff, hey, can you put all these networking groups on a map? Well, back when we were able to go places and see people, this was real important. So I put all the networking groups on a map so you could find what was closest to you. Because if you just look at this printed list, it's in long, it's just a bunch of text and it'd be hard to find, well, which group is closest to me. So you can check this out when you can get back out into the public. The list that I think everybody needs to check out, though, is this professional organization list. Let me open it up here. And what this list is, it's 17 or 18 pages long if you were to print it out. And here is organizations around the Dallas-Fort Worth area that are professional groups. You need to check these groups out. You need to network with these groups. These people are employed. If you network with people who are employed, you have a much better chance of getting a job, finding out what's going on. So there's plenty of different groups that are out there. Whatever you do, there's a group that meets. Find them, go there, network with them. If they like you, know you, they're going to offer you a job first. So, check this out. If there's a group that you go to, it's not on the list, please let me know so I can add it so we can share the information with other people. The About section. Now, it is weird to put an About section in the middle of a title here, but the reason across this top bar here is that this is really the end of the CareerDFW website. The resource, tip of the week, job board, and humor section are all on careerusa.org. So if you were to click on one of those, it will open a new window and take you to this other website, which I'll show you in just a second. So here's the CareerDFW website. The very top here is what is CareerDFW, why is it around? If you want interested in my trip to the White House, you can click here and find out all about that. There's pictures and details of who presented and who talked about things. I've got a running blog of our history right here since the beginning. This you said we did. When you send me those nice little comments telling me about the good things about CareerDFW and thank you for the help, that's where I post this. So when it's 11, 12 o'clock at night and I'm updating the website and I should be in bed sleeping, these are those little pat on the backs that sort of help me out and keep me going. Our mission statement, our goal. We've been in the news a couple of times. You can click here. If you've got a website, you are welcome to add buttons, and there's a whole set of different buttons here that you can add to your website. And then here's some email addresses. At the current time, me, myself, and I, the three of us, we handle everything. So you're welcome to use any one of those email addresses. They will all get to me. So that will, just use any one of those you want. So let's go to the Career USA website. It looks just like the CareerDFW website, except the colors are red, white, and blue. I thought that was didn't have much of a choice there. Tip of the week, I lost my job. What do I do? Click here for help. Here you can see, and this was about a half hour, 45 minutes ago, there were a bunch of people online. When you see job posters online, that means that somebody's actually posting a job to the job board. And I'll point that out in just a second. Here are the same training bits of information that are on the CareerDFW website. Click here, you'll be able to get to any one of the links to get you to our training, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. If you want to join the LinkedIn groups, they're right here also. I'll be updating that number this weekend. And if you'd like to donate or buy a book, here's how you can do that right up here. So when we go to the group tab on Career USA, it's a little bit different. Instead of groups in the DFW area, here are networking groups that I have found around the country. So if you were to click on Dallas-Fort Worth, it would take you to CareerDFW. If you click on Cleveland, Ohio, it'll take you to the group that I know about in Cleveland, Chicago area, the Atlanta area, all these other areas. So if you know of other groups if you've lived in other places and know of other networking groups that are out there, please let me know about them so I can add them to the website. Once again, I want to be able to share this information with everybody out there. The resource tab, this is really the meat of the website. I've got hundreds of files here. on different things about your job search. So the career files, this is like a big giant file cabinet. So what do I do now? I just got laid off. Cover letters, what to do before, during, and after the interview. Everything you want to know about networking, interview questions with the answers are all listed in this section here. Just click right here. It'll take you to a bunch of subcategories so you can find out information. This website tab here has all sorts of different kind of websites that we have found. I don't get paid for you to click through to any of these. These are just websites that people have recommended over the years and have been updated in the last 6 months. We've gone through and updated a lot of the links and eliminated a lot of the old links that are no longer there. But if you're looking for some websites that you may not have heard about in your job search, you may want to check this out. And then resources for veterans. If you're a veteran, we're in the military, thank you for your service. And there's a bunch of resources here, and I've added those at the very, very bottom here for veterans and spouses, specifically guided to what you do. The career tip of the week. This is also known as Jeff's pet peeve, because sometimes people come to my Friday meeting and ask me a question. I remember one Friday, somebody came to me and said, Jeff, I had this great interview on Wednesday, but they asked for my references. So I gave them a list of references. Do you think I should let my references know they may be contacted? Well, yes, that would be a very good idea. So I went home that day, I wrote a blog about it, and I posted it. So most of these blogs are not written by me. They're things that I find on the internet. Today's tip of the week is what to do after a final round job interview. What are the things you should be doing? How often do you contact them? How often do you get back in touch? So that's listed right here. It changes every week. Every Saturday at noon, there'll be a new tip pop up for the following week. So check it out. These are a little bit like those V8 moments where you read it and go, wow, how simple. I could have been applying this in my job search weeks ago. What a simple little thing I should be doing. So hopefully you'll find a little tip out in all these little tips. My favorite career tips are listed over here. If you are just getting started here, read these. It talks about just some things I think are some real basic things you've got to do. You check those out. And if you want to go back and check out all of our tips from the very, very beginning when I started doing this back in 2009, they're all listed right here. You can go back and you can catch them and read them there. There is a job board on the website. I'm not very good. I don't like it. I was forced to go to this when we did a security update, and the system I was using, which I really liked, didn't update itself. So I was forced to go here. There are several things that are broken on it, but the basic stuff is working. There is a login and a log out button here. And the only reason you see it here is because this is the only place you have to log in to view anything on the website. And you don't have to view it. To view anything, you can do it without logging in. But if you want to post a job, you do have to log in to post a job. Jobs only stay posted for 21 days. That's my rule. I know you go to some websites and you may see a job from 6 months ago that's still there. So I like to, get rid of those so that doesn't happen. So here's the most current job. Obviously, people have found me outside the DFW area: Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Rockwall, Oklahoma City, Indiana, Oklahoma, all the way down. So here is job number 30 right here. Currently, there's 542 jobs on the website. The easiest way to view these jobs, don't use the search box, but if you come over here, filter by category, and click on this down arrow, you can see there's 3 accounting jobs. Here's 2 administrative clerical jobs, 1 banking job, 2 in customer service. There are a lot of entry-level jobs, a lot of general labor jobs that pop up on here. Here's 11 management jobs, though. So you may want to click on that and just see those 11 jobs and to see what's on there. So, so that's the job board. I'm looking for a programmer to help me reprogram a new job board. I've got a program picked out, but I don't have the technical background. I can maintain the website, but I don't have the knowledge for CSS and PHP to be able to sit there and write and to use the program to write a new job board. So if you know somebody or you want to help out, or that's something you can do, please contact me. Let me know. It'd be really nice to be able to get that done. The humor section. If you ever get to work for me on a Friday, I will always send you the Friday funny. I think that you've got to have a little fun at work. To me, work is you want to be fun. It's not you just have to do that. So when we rebuilt the website, I asked them to put a little pair of eyeballs on here. You only see these eyeballs between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday. Evenings and weekends, you don't see that, but you can still get the things. You should be out looking for a job right now. So that's why these eyeballs are here. But you can still scroll down. You can find some funny things, jokes, cartoons, videos that I found over the days. Let me share you my favorite cartoon. And I always thought that this was a pretty funny cartoon when it comes to job search. So, but there's all sorts of good ones on here. So please, you can take a look. You can see what's going on here. This is pretty good too. Your former employer says you always took off 5 days around the full moon. Can you address that for me? So, you just never know. So just interesting, fun things, just comical things. Don't go there during the day. During the day, go look for a job. But if you need that little pick me up at night or on the weekends, please check it out. The About Us section is just like CareerDFW. It's the same information. In fact, if you click on certain things, it'll actually take you back to the CareerDFW website, because I wasn't going to maintain the same information on both sites. So those are the websites. Any questions before I move on? Going once, going twice. All right.
So I do have a question.
Okay.
So I am living obviously in the Dallas area, but I am now starting to look outside of the Dallas area and other states. COVID has really driven home how important it is to be near family and be able to access them. And they're all on the West Coast. Looking at your Career USA, you had a lot of states on there. Do you have, or are you planning on having any West Coast states, networking information, so forth?
If you find them, let me know about them and I'll put them on there. I have not found any group. I really haven't spent time searching for that. The only groups that I have searched for at this point is anybody, Yahoo groups went away. And when Yahoo groups went away, I used to be part of like 50 different Yahoo groups to get information. Now that they went away, I joined groups.io. That's what my primary way is to get emails out. And I have reached out, and that's how I found groups mostly on the East Coast. I haven't found any groups on the West Coast that are using groups.io as a way to notify their groups. If you find something, let me know. I'll be glad to add it. I'm always looking to expand and add as much information as I can. I'm a volunteer, just like everybody who helps. If
Right.
you see something, say something, let me know. I'll be glad to add it and share the information.
Okay, and I mean, what do you think about, because this was my thought, looking at the different areas that I'm looking at, maybe being a non-member at their networking groups, just to sort of get an idea.
Well, I don't, non-member member, they probably aren't charging anything for it. Most people, I would say, are not charging. I would say that, I would join every group that I could that would help me maybe, to do something. I would become a member of any group that I could find out there. You don't want to limit yourself. You don't know what's going to work and not work. We'll say LinkedIn is probably the way to find find the best job out there. But
LinkedIn is limited though. LinkedIn doesn't allow you, for instance, I'm in business development now, but I started in marketing and I really, really want to go back to marketing. Although my current experience is just purely business development. LinkedIn limits you because you can't, like on Indeed, you can alter your resume so that it skews more one way than the other. LinkedIn doesn't allow for that. Well,
but you can job search whatever you want. Your what your profile has and what's on and what you search for, those are unrelated. You can search for anything you want. Now, if anybody looked at your LinkedIn profile and said, well, I don't see any marketing on here, that's a different issue. That's something you need to address. If that's what you really want to get back into, you've got to modify your resume. Even though you did this, you've got to say, well, these are the marketing aspects of what you did in that job so that somebody would want to hire you as a marketer. Let me move on. If you have, we can ask more questions here at the very end. I just want to make sure I have time to get to some of this other information things, because some of this may help you out that we want to talk about. So just as a reminder, both the websites, we don't collect any personal information from the users. There's no cost to use either of the websites. So what I want to focus on in the time we have remaining, we only have about 20-25 minutes to go, are three main areas that I think you need to focus in on your job search. I think there's three big things to do. Number one is talking about resumes. Number two, talking about LinkedIn. And number three, interviewing. To me, these are the three biggest areas that people need to focus on in their job search. We heard somebody earlier say that they're just a bad interviewer. They're not good. Well, you probably need to focus in on that. If you want to get a job, you've got to interview. You've got to be able to do it now via the web. So here are three things we're going to talk about. I'm going to break down, talk about each section. So because of this, this is why CareerDFW, when COVID started back in last March, April, we started training sessions every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 1 o'clock. LinkedIn on Tuesdays, interviewing on Wednesdays, resumes on Thursdays, and then the North Dallas group on Fridays. All of our groups are we broadcast live on Facebook, we're on Zoom, and I know there's other groups that are out there just like this group that are out there, but I thought it was really important. So we started sessions. Yesterday was our 42nd LinkedIn presentation. We've done 190 workshops since COVID started last March. So, if you're not joining us, if you have specific needs, please check us out and please help us. Please come join us. So let's talk about resumes. One of the things I notice that people have when they're putting their resume together is they have analysis paralysis, where they just get stuck. They will spend weeks looking at their resume. Well, let me tweak this word. Let me add this. Let me do this. And then they'll share it with somebody and somebody will tell them, well, you need to do this. And if you show it to 10 people, you'll get at least 15 different answers. And if you show it to them again, the same to what you fixed, they'll go, oh no, you need to change this and this. So, your resume is never, ever going to be exactly what you want it to be, but you just have to get comfortable and get it to where you want to do. So my suggestions are, number one, you should have a master resume. You need to have a resume with everything you've done since high school, and include any high school co-op jobs if they're relevant to what it is you do. You have everything. You put dates, addresses, supervisor names. Every job has 8 or 10 or 15 bullet points, anything that you were proud of, any accomplishments you had while you were there. If you do this, then what you can do is when you find a job description, you take your master resume, save it as, and then you start eliminating everything that's unimportant. You want to only tell, if the job description asks for X, Y, and Z, you only want to tell on your resume X, Y, and Z. Yes, you've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but if they're not, the person who's looking at your online resume, they want to find something that matches, okay? So you've got to just make sure that you're only telling them what they want. You have to remember that your resume is just a hook. Think about it, if you go fishing and you're not catching any fish, what do? Well, maybe you change out the hook, or you change out the bait on the hook. Well, same thing here with your resume. If you're not getting any help, change out the information on your resume. You've got to customize every resume you send out, okay? And you've got to keep to the details in the job description. Do not send out generic resumes. They were a waste of time, because you probably, for example, somebody's looking for a customer service rep, but you put down that you're a customer relationship specialist. That may not click in the head of the person looking at resumes, okay? So you've got to modify every resume you send out. I know a person who refuses to send a resume out until she has had a discussion with either the hiring manager or somebody in HR to find out exactly what they're looking for, so she can send them a resume that addresses the points that they're looking for. You've got to make sure that you use dollars, percent, and numbers in every bullet point. Results sell. If your bullet points read like a job description and tell me what you did, I don't care. Anybody can do that. But tell me what you did and the results that you got from it. That sells. So make sure, if you can, every bullet point needs to have, dollars, percent, and a number. You've got to be able to quantify what it is you did. Do not blindly send out a resume. I already talked about that. Do not post your resume on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has your master resume. It has your 10 or 15 page resume on it. It has things that you've done. And the reason you want to put things on even back, 20, 30 years ago, is that by when you list a company, you then can go see other people who may have also worked at that company, and you can connect with those people. I really suggest that you consider a one-page bio. I think the bio is a very effective tool out there. I think it's a great way to share who you are at a high level and maybe pique some interest to want to talk to somebody. If you're going to have a networking meeting with somebody, or an informational interview, you should send them a one-page bio. Don't send them your resume. Here's a great book. I recommend this every presentation I give. It's called Be Sharp by Minna Brand and Paul Asanoff. The reason I recommend, be sure to get the second edition if you find it at half price books or something. You can get it online on Amazon for like 15, 17 bucks. In fact, I think if you have Amazon Prime, if you use a Kindle, you can download this book for free last time I looked. But the nice thing about this book is that the second half of the book is all about the bio, and they've expanded from the first edition to the second edition by adding like 30 or 40 different one-page bios in different situations. And so I just think it's an excellent book on, I think everybody in job search should have it. Okay, talking about ATS systems, applicant tracking systems. Number one, do not use any special characters or any special formatting. No lines, no columns, no tables, because an ATS system is not going to read that. Do not use the header section. See, people in Microsoft Word put a header section so their name pops up at the beginning of the first and second page or whatever. Don't do that, because ATS systems will not read it. You probably want to make sure, you've got to make sure that the keywords align to the job description. We'll talk about this in just a second, where you've got to look at a job description and make sure whatever words in the job description are in your job, in yours. Like I said, if they're looking for a customer service manager and you put down customer relationship manager, the only word that's going to match is manager. It's not going to, relationship and service isn't going to link. So you want to modify to make sure that you're matching the terms in the job description. You've got to make sure you focus on results and accomplishments. We've talked about this, but by putting in percents, dollar signs, just to give it. One of the things we talk about in our Thursday resume class is play the so what game. So you read your bullet point and go, so what? Was there a result? What's the story? And if you don't have that result listed, then you need to modify your bullet point. You may want to use an action verb to start each bullet point, because it helps energize somebody who's reading things. I just use one action word to sort of talk about what the result was that you're doing. Keep it simple. The job of a resume is just to whet the appetite. It's to get them to call you up. It's not, no resume ever got anybody a job. That never happened. You still had to have a phone call. You still had to have a conversation with somebody. Your resume is just to get you so that they will call you up. You really want to network into a company. If you fill out an online application, the chance of you getting called are 2 to 3%. But if you can get your resume onto the hiring manager's desk or into somebody at HR, if somebody will hand deliver your resume, you have a 50% chance of getting an interview, because it makes all the difference. If somebody says, well, yeah, I mean, I know this person, I've worked with them in the past or whatever. So once you fill out an online application, definitely go to LinkedIn. Who do I know at that company and how can I network my way in? It makes all the difference. So here are a couple, some common resume mistakes that I see all the time. Spelling or grammatical errors. You know, think about this. If somebody's looking at resumes and they have, not that they print them out, but if they're looking at them online and they have 50 or 100 resumes to go through, what are they looking to do? They're looking to, how can I strike you? What, if I don't like what I see, next. So you have a spelling error, 90% chance you're going to get struck from that job search. Using an unprofessional email address. No kittylady@gmail.com. No, you know, whatever it is, you know, fluffy John at whatever. Don't do that. You want to have John Smith PMP@gmail.com. You know, do something that sounds professional. You want to make sure you demonstrate and quantify results. Like I said in the bullet point, I've talked about this over and over again. Very, very, very important. There are a lot of buzzwords out there, overused phrases. You know, everybody's looking for somebody who's highly qualified or dedicated. I mean, you know, skip those words, get to the words that, you know, really set you apart from everybody else. If your format and design is too elaborate. Now, if you're an artist, maybe in marketing, maybe graphic design. It's interesting. My daughter's in graphic design, and she was laid off from IBM this past summer. So of course, the first thing she did was she spent a week or two putting a very creative resume together, and she sent it to her dad. Not that she ever listens to her dad very much, but she would, you know, she sent it to me, and I go, well, this is nice and pretty, but most people are not going to want to. You're not going to get a job from this. And you know, she spent time updating her website and everything to make it match. Well, it's really great because IBM gave her right management. And so she dealt with the people at right management. Right management said, oh, you need to have a standard resume for your, you know, when you're applying and stuff. Yes, your other cute resume is nice and cute, but it's not going to get you a job. Well, my daughter wouldn't listen to me, but she listened to them at Right Management. She's now working for another company. She got a job in December, but it's just sort of interesting how kids don't listen to their parents. And I just assume I know for a fact that that's the way it is. Some other common mistakes. Number one, you have too much text. Your summary statement at the very top, no more than 3 lines, no more than 5 to 8 bullet points. And the farther back you go, the fewer bullet points you need to have underneath the job. Your bullet point should be 1 or 2 lines max. If you can get it down to 1 line, that's great. You know, you've got to make sure that your tense are correct. If you used to work there, you used to do it, make sure that all the action verbs are in past tense. If you currently work there, make sure they're in present tense. People will bump you and knock you out because if you don't have your stuff done correctly. You don't have to mention references available upon request. If they want them, they know to ask for them. So don't put that on a resume. That's from 20 years, 30 years ago, probably. Like I said, you've got to customize to match the job description. Very, very important. And you need to include your LinkedIn address. I will say this, I've heard this from on a couple different of the ATS systems. You do not want your, on your Word document or PDF document, you do not want your LinkedIn profile to be a hyperlink. Remove the hyperlink so it's plain text, so somebody can highlight it, copy it, and then paste it in there to a box to go to it. Because some ATS systems will bug out and just don't like that. It'll just mess them up. So here's a resume I just wanted to sort of point out here. And the things in yellow are the things that are common. So let me show you a few things I want to point out. So if you're talking about improving, whoops, I'm on the wrong screen here. You talk about improving processes, you know, you want to make sure it's improving processes. If you want to, you know, if they talk about Scrum, you got to make sure you mention Scrum. If they talk about Agile, be sure to talk about Agile. Very important here at the very bottom now. Here, this isn't highlighted, Microsoft Office. If they mention Microsoft Office on the job description, you should add Microsoft Office on your resume. But if they don't mention it, don't put it on there because everybody knows how to use Microsoft Office, or they should. So, you don't need to list it. If they don't ask for it, don't put it. But if they mention a certain product, be sure to list those products, because that's going to get you matching. That'll get you to match up with everything. So just very, very important. So this is something we talk about every Thursday in our resume class. Please join us on a Thursday, and we'll talk about it. In fact, this Thursday we have a new resume to share that has some more detail on it that we'll be sharing with you this Thursday. So let's talk about LinkedIn right now. So LinkedIn, you've got to have your profile fully developed. LinkedIn will help you do that. Just follow what LinkedIn says, and it will help you and follow you with what you do. You want to make sure your profile tells the company how you can help them, okay? It's not a matter of blowing your horn. It's how can I help you? And make sure you write it in those terms that, what can I do for your company? How can I help you? Let my talents help you. You want to become an all-star. And to become an all-star, you've got to have a few things, and we'll talk about this just a second. Can somebody reach out to you easily? Is your phone number and email address in your about section? Okay. Is it in your contact section? Do you make it available for everybody? You've got to make sure that you keep it out there and keep it available for everybody. I put mine actually on my banner. So I used a program at the very top called Canva, canva.com. And I pulled in 3 different pictures, or 2 pictures in a text box. And so this way, if somebody views my profile, they see my head, they see how to contact me, and they don't even have to be logged into LinkedIn. If somebody did a Google search for me, they would find me right here. So, make sure, a couple things. One, you want to make sure you customize your URL link, and you can do that by editing your public profile and edit URL in the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to put a professional email, and use the largest close city. If you live in Prosper, I wouldn't list Prosper. I would list Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. For the person who is looking for a job on the West Coast, I would maybe, I don't know, either you can just say United States because you're willing to work anywhere, but make sure in your about section you let people know that you want to move. If you have a certain city you want to move to, you may want to put that city that is the city that you're interested in moving to, and just change it to that. Make sure you have a focus statement, a title at the top. A Java front-end developer, a marketing brand manager. You can have multiple titles. Make sure these are job titles that you would see on a job description, and not job titles, that are not written that way. I mean, you want to make sure that your job title, and make sure it's one of the job titles that LinkedIn uses. If you go and you pick your open to work, it will tell you those bits of information. Be sure to always send a personal note with any LinkedIn invitation you send. Just very, very important. I will not connect with anybody who doesn't send me a note, because I want to know why we connected, how we met, where we met. So if you've sent me a personal invitation in the past and I haven't responded, so make sure it came with a note, because I'll accept anybody who sends me a note. And you can even do that on a phone. So if you're using a phone, be sure to click on their personal invite, and you'll be able to do that there. Be sure to complete your profile to achieve all-star status. To do that, you have to have a current position, a location, industry, summary, and at least 5 skills, education, and a photo. Those are the minimal things you have to have. Current position. Well, I'm unemployed. So your current position is the job title you're looking for. The phone number, or the title of the company, is your phone number, your email address, and your phone number maybe. And then for what you're doing at that company is 3 or 4 of your top results, how you can sell yourself into that. By having a current job, that will allow you to, that gets your status up higher. You've got to make sure you have a good looking photo. They've already talked about that. We have a gentleman here, Rick, who can help get you a good looking photo. Make sure it's a plain background. You don't want a hand on it. You don't want to be, they can tell you were at a group photo and you cut things down. And we just need to see you from like shoulders up. I mean, that's what we need to see. Make sure your headline is, of the kind of jobs that you're applying for. The headline now, you can have up to 220 characters, which gets you 4 or 5 lines. So you should be able to put a number of job titles that you're interested in. Make sure that you put on there that you're open to new job opportunities. People always ask, well, should I put that little green ring around my photo? Is that, too much? Should I do it? Should I not do it? I think you should do it because half the people, I would say that more than 50% of recruiters out there are not paying LinkedIn to find out that you're open to work. Okay. And you want your acquaintances, people who know you on LinkedIn, to see that you're looking for work, because they may go, oh, Jim, I didn't know you were looking for work. I think I may have a lead for you. So let people know you're looking for work. It doesn't show that you're desperate. Let everybody know you're working. Once you get a job, you take it off. Make sure in your about section, you have an overview of what you do using keywords from your profession. Keywords are very, very important for LinkedIn searches. If you join us at a LinkedIn seminar every Tuesday, we talk about keywords every week. Very, very important. In your experience section, make sure that you've got everything on there. If you have an unusual job title like Chief People Person, well, most job companies don't title their Director of HR as Chief People Person. So in parentheses, just add what the common title would be for that job description. Once again, it's a better way to get you up into the matching, so you can be able to be matched better. Add any education, award, certificate, professional development skills. There's a place for volunteering that you do. You can add that. You can add recommendations from coworkers and bosses. When we talk about recommendations, the easiest thing to do is send the person you'd like a recommendation for, send them sample text. Jim, you were my supervisor when I used to work at XYZ company. I pulled these comments from the last review you wrote about me. Would you mind using these in a review and use these in a recommendation on LinkedIn? I'd really appreciate it. Make it easy for them. A couple of things on privacy settings. There's 2 things that I would like to concentrate on. Number 1, you want to make sure you turn off viewers of this profile also viewed. Very, very, very important. Because why do you want to let other people see 10 more people just like you? There's no reason to do that. So you want to make sure that's turned off. And then number 2, you want to turn on, let people know that you're looking for new opportunities. Very important. Be sure to follow any company that you're interested in or have applied to. If you're following IBM, make sure you click follow IBM, so that because that shows up if people are using recruiter package and they see I'm looking for a programming manager and they put that in, they'll see on the recruiting package that, well, there's 400 people who are following the company. Well, maybe I should I'll check their profiles out first because I think they're already interested. Let me skip that slide. Always reply to any in-mail or connection request, even if it's no thanks or thanks for the connection, because by doing this, LinkedIn keeps track of if you're active or if you're actually responding. One of the options a recruiter has is there's 710 million people on LinkedIn, but people who are likely to respond is like 41 million people. So, you want to be in that batch, because when a recruiter goes and says, well, I only want to talk to people who are probably willing to, that are going to respond, because if I'm sending in-mails out to people who don't respond, I'm never going to hear back from them, and I need to fill this position. So always respond. Okay, let's talk about interviewing real quick. Greg, how much time do I have left? Or am I out?
Got 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
Take a drink of water. Here we go. Okay, so for interviewing, I know somebody said they're a really bad interviewer. You have got to be prepared for an interview. Every bullet point on your resume has got to have a story. I recommend you write them down. Get some index cards, because when you handwrite what your answer is, you tend to remember it better. It helps you. And then plus, when you're reviewing for an interview, you can pull out the cards that you think you're going to want to talk about. You want to make sure that you use, people talk about star stories all the time. I like raw, where you tell the result first, then the action and why you had to do it. Sometimes you add the result again at the end. So would you like me to tell you time when I saved the company $6 million? Well, yeah, tell me how you did that. Well, I saved this company by $6 million because by implementing a new computer system, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And the reason we had to do it is that we were losing customers to our competition. And that's how I saved the money. So, by telling the result, you're sort of like, you're telling if you read a book, you're telling the last page first, because if you know what the result was, it's like, oh, well, that's interesting. I do want to know more about that. You always want to keep your answers to 60 or 90 seconds. And quite frankly, I think now it should be 45 to 60 seconds, especially on video interviews. Keep them down no more than 60 seconds because people lose interest very quickly. So it's real important that you keep your story very, very short and distinct. Always be prepared for these questions. Why do you want to work here? I know there's a recruiter who speaks to our group once a year, and she said, I ask every employee, everybody I talk to, why do you want to work here? And if they don't have a good answer, I don't advance them. That's just one of my go-to questions every time. How much did you make at your last job? All right, so here's the salary question. And this can go to a long discussion about how to properly answer that. If we have time at the end, I'll be glad to hang out and we can talk more about that at the end. Why did you leave your last job? These are 3 questions that are going to come up. The salary question in general, why did you leave your last job, or the job before that? Some interviewers ask, some don't. It just sort of depends. I think you should, I like this 10+1 method. If you think about it, you want to have 10 questions ready to ask. Okay. The goal is to try to ask some of those questions during the interview. So you answer a question and you can say, so have you had this issue here? Or, whatever it is that you can try to ask one of your questions that follows up and ties in with an answer you just gave them. And then the last question, the +1, is always ask for the job. You've got to be prepared for a video interview. I'm sure everybody now has done those. Hopefully, if you haven't, you can practice using Skype, Google Hangouts, FaceTime. Everybody can get a free Zoom account. You can go for 40 minutes. So, get a friend and interview each other and see how it goes. I mean, the hardest thing to do is sit and look at the camera nonstop. It's just very, very difficult because you want your eyes to sort of dart around. You see the little smiley face that I have there. I have up on my camera here, if you see me in the picture, I have these little smile faces. In the middle, I cut a hole out so that it goes right over my camera, so I remember where to look and reminds me to smile when I'm doing a presentation. So if I think about it at the very end, I have a sheet of them, I'll print them, I'll put in the chat box so everybody can download them if you'd like to have them. Be sure when you're interviewing to find out what the next step is going to be. Be sure to suggest a follow-up call. Don't leave the interview, well, thanks for your time, I look forward to hearing from you. You have got to follow up. You have got to be willing to show them what's going on. You want to express even greater interest in the position, referring to your opening statement of enthusiasm. In fact, today at our interview session 6 we're conducting, it's going to talk about opening, closings, and follow-up. So we'll talk all about this today at 1 o'clock at our workshop. And then always be sure to ask for the next job, or ask for the job if you think things are going well. I'm ready to start. Can I start on Monday? Let's wrap this up today. So here are some common interview mistakes that we see. Number 1, speaking too much or too little. Yes or no questions, you don't answer yes or no. You've got to come up with a little short answer. Spending too much time on a situation part of a star story will kill you every time. Keep it very short. You wander off into the weeds, you fill up the silence with too much information. Tell your star story briefly and distinctly, and you can always say, if it's 45, 50 seconds, did I answer your question? Or would you like to know more? Don't talk in generalities. If you don't know the answer to a question, don't try to fib and don't try to come up with something. I mean, you have got to be honest with what you're doing. Mishandling a negative oriented question. You know, don't you agree that the current administration is really not doing a really good job? Don't get into those kinds of things. I mean, the interviewer already has a point of view. Be sure that when you tell stories that you take credit for doing what you do. You want to make sure you use I or my. Don't talk about we. Well, in our group, we were responsible. Well, we're not hiring we, we're hiring you. So what did you do? You never, ever, never want to talk negatively about a previous job, coworker, or boss. Because if you talk negatively about them, all you're saying is you may talk negatively about me if I were to hire you, and I'm not going to do that. If you need practice interviewing, I highly recommend the Dallas Pit Crew. It meets online. You need to send a resume and a job description and available times that you're available for the next 2 to 4 days. You send that email and job description to dallaspitcrew@gmail.com, and they will get it scheduled. Mark and Walt, they're the ones teaching the interview workshop every Wednesday. So, you know, come back and join us, but the Pit Crew is just a fabulous organization. So a couple bonus things real quick, we sort of close things out here. Please visit our Career USA YouTube channel. Currently we have got over 140 workshops recorded. It's probably closer to 145 now. Every Wednesday we record the LinkedIn presentation. Every Wednesday, Tuesday, LinkedIn. Every Wednesday, interviewing. Every Thursday, effective resumes. We record the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Groups on Friday mornings. We've recorded the Frisco Career Transition Workshops. They are all available on there. You can watch them anytime at your leisure. If today we're on session number 6 for interviewing Wednesdays. So if you haven't, oops, sorry about that. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. I'm looking at the wrong screen. I forgot you didn't get to see these things. You know, we're going to be on session 6 today. And if you want to catch up with lessons 1 through 5, it'll be nice and cold this weekend. It'll give you something to do while you're sitting inside with your pajamas on in front of a fire. To catch up, and you can watch the old workshops. On LinkedIn, on YouTube, it looks something like this. We recommend that you click on playlist, and then underneath, don't click on the video, but you see there's effective resumes, there's interviewing, there's LinkedIn. Where you see that purple arrow, click on view full playlist, and then up will come a list of all the different sessions, you know, what's been recorded. The most current one will be on the very top, and this way you can, whatever subject matter you need to see, you can go pick. Another thing, if you're not early, you're late. To me, 5 minutes early is on time's late. You know, you always want to get there early. I just this will get you ahead in life. You know, showing up on time or showing up after the fact, it's just, you know, get yourself organized, set extra clocks if you need to. Don't spend all day in front of a computer. Well, nowadays you have to, because where else can we go to meet people? But back when you could meet people in person, you want to get out networking. Most jobs are found networking, doing informational interviews. Very, very, very important. Always be sure to include contact information in your email, and make sure that's true on your phone and on your, you know, anytime you send emails out on your iPad, on a tablet, on your cell phone, make sure that you've got all your contact information. Because if I need, you know, I may send you a very simple question, but what if I want to pick up the phone and call you, but I don't see your information? You know, put everything on there. Make it easy for people to find out who you are. Make sure your display name says who you are also. The second one here is very interesting. Mike Gmail. Mike didn't realize that, I guess he had done something and Gmail was popping up as his last name. And I took a screenshot and sent it to him and said, he didn't realize it, he didn't know, but I took a screenshot and said, hey, you may want to, he said, I had no idea it was doing this. That very first one there, WS Cougar 96. Do you really want to tell people that, well, you may be a cougar and you're 96 years old? I mean, maybe that's possible, but you know, I happened to get this email during basketball season, and WSU happens to be the Washington State University Cougars. She happened to graduate in 1996. This is not what you want for your professional email address or your professional display name. All right, so just please remember, if you can, please join the CareerDFW and Career USA LinkedIn groups. Follow us on Facebook page. Every time we go live, you'll get a little alert on your phone. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you subscribe to our USA YouTube channel, you will get an email every time we post a new video. We post 4 or 5 videos a week. Remember, we survive on donations. All the proceeds from the book go to support CareerDFW. Please consider, when you land your next great opportunity, please consider making a donation so we can continue to do what we're doing. So if you're looking for a speaker, I'm always willing to talk to any group, anytime, anywhere. Nowadays via Zoom, it's much easier. I don't have to go fly anyplace. But if you'd like to, you can always reach out to me at webmaster@careerdfw.org. And if you're not getting any emails, or you're not receiving emails from CareerDFW and Career USA, we put out 6 emails a week. You can, if you want to, send an email to Career USA plus subscribe at groups.io, and that will get you onto our mailing list. And we put out 6 emails a week. Monday or Sundays is the career tip of the week. Monday is programming for the week, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the Zoom links for that day's programming. So thanks for Mike, Greg, thanks for having me. And whatever, I'm willing to hang around. I've got no place to be till 1 o'clock when we start our next workshop.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff. That was really informative. Hopefully everyone has got a lot of good tips. You can take at least one